Good day, class. In this video, we are going to talk about the 5 flavors. The 5 flavors include the pungent, sweet, bitter, sour, and salty. Initially, the flavors refers to the actual taste of the individual herbs. So from the flavors, we might approximately to understand the actual taste of individual herb. But as the theories develops, the flavor more refers to the actions. For example, if a herb have the function of dispersing pathogens or has the function of activating qi or blood, and then we define this herb has the flavor of pungent. So as you can see, the flavor nowadays is not only refers to the taste, but also the actions. So here, the pungent herb, the pungent flavor has the function of dispersing. So pungent can disperse, can activate. So these two are the key words that you need to remember. Can disperse, can activate. What kinds of stuff the pungent can disperse? The pungents can disperse the pathogens, expel bacterial pathogens. So here, when we said exterior pathogens, we don't really say specifically what kinds of pathogens, which means the pungent can disperse all kinds of exterior pathogens, such as the wind, the cold, the heat, the dampness. The pungent also can activate the qi. You also can activate the blood. So a pungent herb can be used for qi stagnation. You also can be used for blood stasis. For instance, 红花. So that's this one. 木香 can use for qi stagnation. So you can use for digestive problem. 薄荷 can use to relieve the exterior pathogens due to wind heat. 麻黄 can use for dispelling exterior pathogens such as wind cold. So these can be used for in the condition of common cold, which is due to wind cold or wind heat. So that's the function of the action from the flavor. And also when we consider yin and yang, the pungent and sweet are considered as yang. The sour, bitter, and salty are considered as yin. For example, 树叶, the property of 树叶, warm and pungent. Warm, we can use in a cold syndrome. Pungent can disperse. It can disperse wind or dispel wind. So when you consider these two aspects, cold, in a cold syndrome and the wind syndrome, so you can use 树叶 in the situation due to wind cold. So dispel wind cold. The patient may present with headache or flu due to wind cold. So that's very important. The syndrome is a wind cold syndrome. If the patient suffers from headache or flu due to wind heat, then you don't use 树叶. The reason is because 树叶 is a warm herb. In a wind heat condition, you won't use a warm herb. So in a heat condition, you're going to find something cold and pungent. Then it can help you to dispel wind heat. The patient also may present with headache or flu. Pungent. You also can Apart from the dispersing, it also can be used to activate. So Su Ye also have the function to activate the qi. Then it can be used for the qi stagnation, especially in the middle jiao. It can be used qi stagnation such as distending abdomen, vomiting due to qi stagnation, threat of miscarriage due to qi stagnation. So no matter what kind of symptoms here, it must due to the qi stagnation. That's because of the flavor of pungent. Pungent can activate specifically for Su Ye, it can activate the qi. So when you see from the action of Su Ye, this herb, then you can find out that this herb has the function of dispelling wind colds and warm the middle jiao. And then these are the possible symptoms that you can use in the clinical practice. Another herb, Chuan Xiong, warm pungent. Warm, you can use in a cold syndrome. That's the same. Pungent can dispel wind. So you can use headache in the headache due to the wind. Pungent also can activate. This herb can activate qi and blood. It can activate the liver stagnation. So it can be used to relieve the pain due to qi and blood stagnation. So that's how to understand the actions of a single herb, one pungent, and Chuanxiong. Chuanxiong is a chief herb for all kinds of headache. It can be used for headache due to wind cold, wind heat, wind damp, blood deficiency, blood stasis, etc. The reason is because of Chuanxiong. It's pungent, and although it's warm, but the warm is mild, so it's not hot. But the function we more focus, the flavor we more focus on the pungent. That's why it can activate, can disperse. That's why this herb can be used in all kinds of causes: wind cold, wind heat, wind damp, blood deficiency, blood stasis. Why blood deficiency we also can use? That's because blood deficiency may result in blood stasis. Then we can use Chuanxiong to activate the blood circulation. So when you see the actions from your textbook, you will see the actions of Chuanxiong, activating qi and blood to relieve pain, relieve headache, and dispel wind. The next one, bitter. Bitter has three functions. Bitter can purge, can dry, can retain. So these three are something you need to remember. Can purge. What kinds of pathogen need to be purged, such as heat? It can clear heat. It can be used in a heat syndrome. It can purge qi. It can use for qi rebellion, such as difficult breathing, nausea, or vomiting. Qi rebellion means qi is supposed to move downwards, but now the qi move outwards. So we try to purge the qi, to get the qi move downwards again. Diarrhea. So the purge can cause diarrhea, so we can use for constipation. A patient suffer from constipation. That's from the bitter herb. But bitter herbs, the bitter also has the function of drying. So in a damp syndrome, dampness, we can use bitter. Bitter also can retain yin, so we can use for yin deficiency with deficiency heat. How the bitter herbs can retain yin? How to retain yin? This function actually related to the clear heat. Retain yin and clear heat. How to keep the yin in the body? How to purge or clear fire and retain yin? So these two are closely related. In the body, we got a limited yin, and then the limited yin causes hyperactive fire or deficiency fire. That's a kind of a heat. So this is deficiency heat. The deficiency heat, because of the bitter can clear heat, can purge heat. Clear heat can purge fire or clear fire. So you actually reduce the heat. When you reduce the heat, in other words, you can keep the water in the pot. So this is very similar when you cook your food. If you turn down the heat, turn the heat in a low level, you can keep the water in your pot. But if you reduce the heat in your body, you can keep more in the body. So the bitter taste also can be used to retain yin for yin deficiency, especially with deficiency heat. For instance, the five center heat, the feverish sensation in the palms and undersoles. Then we can choose some herbs with the bitter taste. One is the deficiency fire. Excessive qi is fire, but this is another term. When we all talk about qi and blood, we all talk about qi deficiency, blood deficiency. We have never talked about excess qi. Excess qi means in a certain area we got too much qi. Once you got too much qi in this container or in these pathways, it will cause the stagnation. So the stagnation can cause stagnation heat. That's why we said excess heat is a fire. In this situation, we also can use a bitter herb to purge, to activate the qi, to purge the excess qi. For example, there's one herb called 苦杏仁. 苦 in Mandarin it means bitter. This herb named after bitter, which means this herb has a bitter taste. Bitter, slightly warm. Bitter can purge. It can purge the rebellion qi. So it can be used for coughing, for difficulties in breathing due to lung qi rebellion. So this coughing or difficult breathing due to lung qi is supposed to move downwards, but now it moves outwards. That's why the patient presents with coughing or even tachypnea. So when you see the coughing or difficulty breathing, tachypnea, you don't think about something wrong in the airway. You're going to think as a whole, the patient as a whole, why the patient cough. What happens when the patient cough or the patient got difficult breathing? The patient has the problem inhale, and when you cough, you actually exhale more. So in this situation, you got more air outwards and outwards. You don't have enough to move downwards. This is something we need to purge So we can use this herb's 苦杏仁, this herb, to purge the rebellion qi. The qi is supposed to move down, but now it's moved up. Then the upward moving we call it rebellion. So the rebellious qi we can use 苦杏仁. So 苦杏仁 is one of the most common herb. One of the most common herbs for coughing, for tachypnea, for difficulty breathing. Another example, 代黄, bitter and cold. Bitter can purge, so it can cause diarrhea. So in this situation, we can use for patients with constipation, especially constipation due to heat. The reason why due to heat is because this herb is cold. It can purge. It also can purge the rebellion qi. So the patient may present with vomiting blood, or all kinds of heat symptoms due to rebel qi in upper body. Red eyes, headache, sore throat, swelling and aching of gum. So these are all due to rebellion qi. Bitter also can dry, so you can use for a syndrome with dampness. Cold can warm the body. So in this situation, we can use 代黄 in a damp heat syndrome. For example, jaundice due to damp heat. So in this situation, we can use 代黄. And then previously we have introduced another herb, 黄柏. So jaundice, especially due to damp heat, then we can use 代黄. The reason is because this herb has the property of bitter and cold. So it can result in diarrhea, can clear the damp heat. Another example, 知母, bitter, sweet, cold. We haven't mentioned the sweet, but in the later slides we will talk about sweet. But now we talk about bitter. Bitter can purge rebellion qi. 知母 also cold. So when you combine with the cold and purge, the cold can clear heat, purge can use for rebellion qi. So we can use for coughing due to lung heat, especially lung heat. Bitter can purge, can clear the fire, can purge the fire. So the fire and qi, it can be used in wound diseases in qi level. Bitter can retain yin. When you combine with the clear fire, we have explained in the previous slides. That's the deficiency will result in deficiency fire. So in this situation, the deficiency heat, the deficiency fire will result in deficiency. So in this situation, we use 知母 to clear the deficiency heat to remain the yin. So we can use in coughing due to yin deficiency, thirst, hot flashes, night sweats due to yin deficiency fire from liver or kidney yin deficiency.